The year is 750 AD. For generations, your ancestors have farmed these lands around the great city of Tikal. Life here is good. You are part of a complex society that sprawls across the Yucatan Peninsula, down through Central America and even into Mexico. Your Maya city is a hub of trade, a place where merchants arrive bearing obsidian, copper bells and fine salt from the coast, and where your neighbors from smaller city-states come to pay tribute to the king and ask for his protection. Though there are many small kingdoms in this region, each one ruled by a noble house, each one with its own customs and language, all of them are united under the rule of the divine king of Tikal. Every 3 days, you must bring an offering of maize to the temple at the top of the pyramid. This is a duty shared by every citizen, an obligation given equally to men and women. You join the long lines of other villagers, all making their way up the steep steps of the pyramid. At the top, the air is thin and cool. From here, you can see the entire city of Tikal spread out before you. The tall wooden houses of the nobles, the bustling marketplace, the ball court where the game is played, and far beyond, the untamed jungle pressing ever inward from the coast. From the top of the pyramid you look down into the plaza below and watch as priests dressed in fine garments conduct a ritual, a ceremony to ensure the fertility of the land and the continued favor of the god. While the priests chant in a sacred, almost forgotten language, you contemplate your own small life in place within the grand scheme of the cosmos. You think of the merchant who came last week bearing news of a rival kingdom preparing for war. You recall the drought of 3 years ago when your crops failed and your family had to flee to Tikal, joining the hundreds of thousands who had done the same. And you remember the stories told by the elders of the great kings who once ruled over this city, of how they waged war on neighboring kingdoms and built magnificent temples in the heart of the jungle. But the only life you really know is the one you see around you now. And so you bow your head and take part in the prayer for abundant rains, for health and prosperity in the coming year. You pray for another chance to see the sunrise over the rooftops of Tikal, to watch the jaguar cubs play in the market square, and to hear the rhythmic chanting of the monks as they tend to their sacred fire. As the ceremony ends, you step back into the crowds and make your way down the pyramid. It's time to return to your family and to the life that awaits you there. In the distance, a lone howler monkey screams, echoing through the treetops. Another sound joins it, then another, until a chorus of voices fills the air. The young men look up and smile. This is the music of the night. You recognize the song of the toucans, the harbingers of the coming dawn. Soon the sky will lighten in the east. It is time to go. The next day, as the sun climbs higher in the sky, you leave the city of Tikal behind. With your companions, you travel along a raised causeway that cuts through the dense foliage, past the sculpture of a crouching crocodile god, its jaws wide, its eyes gleaming like jewels. You hurry on, eager to reach the safety of your village before the heat of the afternoon sun. Suddenly, one of your companions freezes. He motions for silence and points ahead. There, partially hidden by vines, is a skeleton. Beside it lies a stone axe, its blade chipped and dull. Your companion whispers that this is the work of the mysterious creature that lurks in the caves and jungles, preying on those foolish enough to wander too far from the path. You hurry past the bones of the unfortunate traveler, seeking the comfort of your home and home. As you make your way deeper into the jungle, the tall trees begin to close in around you, their branches intertwining overhead to block the sun. In the distance, you hear the roar of a waterfall and decide to follow the sound. Pushing aside the thick vines, you emerge into a clearing and gasp in amazement. Before you is a huge waterfall cascading down a moss-covered wall of rock. But what catches your eye is the sight of a temple half hidden behind the curtain of water. You recognize it from the murals in the great palace at Tikal. This is the shrine of the masked god, a place of pilgrimage for the faithful. You cross the stream and climb the steps leading up to the temple. The cool water of the falls bathes you in its misty spray as you contemplate the awesome power of the natural world. You feel humbled and awestruck in the presence of something so grand and timeless. And in that moment, you understand that the world you inhabit is full of wonders and mysteries beyond your comprehension. The jungle is alive, and you are just a small part of its intricate web. Thank you for joining us on this journey through time. If you enjoyed this experience, please take a moment to show your support. Your engagement helps us continue sharing these stories. Until next time, remember to stay curious and keep exploring the world around you. Who knows what ancient wonders you might discover? Imagine waking up before sunrise, before the jungle noises had begun and the biting ants were looking for their next meal. Imagine being awakened by your overseer, who was always standing outside your house at 5 a.m. sharp to get the day's labor started. Imagine living in a world without clocks, without a watch, without a phone, but knowing exactly when to wake up based on how long you could hear the cicadas chirp during the night. This is what life was like as a Mesoamerican worker around 2,500 years ago. But today, we're going to be focusing specifically on the stone hollows of Tikal. Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. Time now to travel back in time to the classic Maya period. So let's get started. So you awaken. For you, There's nothing to look forward to in the morning. Sleep is a brief escape from pain. While you dream, your aching limbs are stilled and the terrible thirst in your throat is quenched by cool water. But now the dreams are over. Now you must be up. You gather your few belongings. You might have a bit of pottery for cooking, a blanket made of woven reeds, and a stone pendant, perhaps depicting one of the gods. Maybe you have a wife and children, but they are likely sleeping still. Men are expected to go to the quarry alone. Women may join them if they are the wives of the workers. You know the danger of the jungle. You know how easily you can vanish, lost in the green labyrinth. Dangerous animals prowl everywhere, but you have no choice but to go. If you stay behind, you will be punished. There is no free time in Tickle, there's only work. You grab a stick to help you navigate the thick vines and head for the entrance to the quarry. The Tickle quarry is not so much a quarry as a long scar on the hillside. Here, hundreds of workers cut, shaped and moved huge blocks of limestone. The work is backbreaking. Men curse the kings and the priests. They curse the sun. They curse the earth itself. How much longer will these damned temples rise? Is there no satisfaction in the sight of these great monuments? Must they forever climb higher? Will the world itself end and still the buildings must go higher? You do not dare voice your thoughts. You are not important enough to risk the overseer's whip. Even the smallest mistake could bring punishment. The workers are an expendable tool. They are called by the overseers to haul their burden, then set off on the long walk through the jungle to the building site. The men are a silent mass. There is no laughter. There is no music. There is only the hope of finishing your task before the daylight is too much. The quarry is full of noise. Hammers ring against limestone. Wedges driven deep. Workers' curses chunks break free and fall, crushing limbs or snapping bones. When the gods are pleased with the sacrifice of blood, when the blood spills freely, the work goes faster. You are needed elsewhere now. Leave the cutting and shaping to others. You are to haul, to carry to the king's appointed place. You take your place in line, lean forward and push. You put your hands under the rope harness. The other workers strain, grunting and leaning back. The overseer watches, waiting for you to signal when the stone is ready to move. He stands with his whip at the ready. When the stone is lifted, it rises. Slowly, painfully, the rope bites into your hands. It digs into your shoulders. You cannot breathe properly. The others heave upward. Their faces are contorted with effort. The stone lifts, inch by inch. The overseer urges you onward. Keep moving, do not stop, do not rest. You grip the rope tightly, muscles strained. The stone rests on your back, secured by the wooden frame. It is heavier than you are tall. The journey to the building site is long. The path is treacherous. You must keep moving. It does not matter that you have never tripped. It does not matter that you have never fallen. There is no mercy. You stumble once, you lose your footing, and the stone falls. The overseers will punish you. The priests will see your failure as an offering to the gods. You move carefully, bracing your feet, taking small steps, making sure to watch where you go. You pass fellow workers, some dragging tools, others carrying baskets of lime, plaster, or precious stones. You see nobles passing by, haughty. They do not touch your world. You do not touch theirs. You step over small bodies, children helping out, earning the right to eat. You see one kneeling in prayer. His eyes are closed, his head is bowed. He is praying that his burden will lift easily, that he will finish his task in time. You step over him and press on. The building site is noisy. You can hear the hammers ring and the chisels chip. There are drills spinning in the waist-high wall of rock. You can hear the screech of the rope as others unload their stones. You step carefully. The ground is uneven, littered with rocks and dust. You can see the grand plaza ahead, the new temple rising up. You can imagine how the priests will climb the stairs, how the nobles will sit in the shade of its broad eaves. You hand the rope to a child and kneel, letting the stone settle onto the wall. The overseer looks you over, but does not speak. He sees the calluses on your hands, the sweat on your brow. He knows you are not afraid of hard work. He gives you no reward. You do not expect one. You are worth very little. You are neither man nor beast, just something in between. You bend over, pick up a hammer, and join the others working on the lower levels of the temple. The sun is high now, but there are still hours left to work. You raise your hammer high, bring it down. Chip by chip you work on the temple. By midday, you are hungry, thirsty, and tired, but there is no food and no water. You do not dare leave your post. The overseer watches, waiting for someone to falter. He will find a way to punish them, to make an example. You swallow your thirst, ignore the cramps in your legs, and raise your hammer once more. At last, the overseer calls out for the day's work to be ended. You drop your hammer, let the sound echo across the site. The sun is high, but the working day is done. You may leave now. You are empty inside, empty outside. Your hands are raw. Your clothes hang in rags. You are covered in dust and grime. You may wash yourself in the river, eat your evening meal, tend to your family. For one brief moment, you can forget about the next day. For one brief moment, you can forget about the endless work. As the sun sets, you return to your hut. You find your wife and children eating their meal. There is corn, beans, squash, and maybe some chicken. Life is difficult, but at least you have family. You feed your children, tell them stories of the great buildings you are helping to construct. You tell them of the treasures you have seen. You tell them of the wealth of the nobles. You don't tell them that you have seen the nobles gambling away their riches. You don't tell them that you've seen the nobles beating their wives and children. You do want to tell them that you've seen the drunken lords offering up their daughters to the priests. You tell them that the world is good. You tuck your children in. Hold your wife close. You do not tell her that you saw another worker whipped for falling asleep. You do not tell her that you watched a woman crushed to death under a fallen stone. You do not tell her that you wish to run away. You close your eyes and try to remember why you do what you do. You remember the trinkets the merchants brought from the coast, colorful beads made of shells, bright cloth, woven with threads of gold. You remember the sound of drums, the smell of incense. You remember the king's procession, the lords in their finest clothes, the priests holding aloft their sacrificial knives. You remember the fire, the human torch, the screams as the flesh caught fire. You remember the glory of the rituals, the satisfaction after the blood flowed. You remember the processions to the caves, the offerings of jade and gold. You remember the power the kings spoke of, the power of the gods, the power of the kingdom. You remember the priests told you, the gods demand the best, the gods demand the most, the gods demand everything. And you remember thinking, yes, the gods do demand everything. Now let us drift southward away from the towering pyramids of Tikal down through the dense green folds of the rainforest, past howler monkeys clinging to broad fig trees and into the valley where the city of one stood in quiet majesty. It was not as vast as Tikal, but it was refined, a city of sculptors and sages, of soft stucco plazas and elaborately carved stone. It was a place where art and astronomy intertwined with power, where rulers walked shaded courtyards while scribes etched their names into time. But like many Maya cities, greatness did not last forever. Tonight we explore that slow unwinding, not with drama, but with a calm gaze, observing the gentle unraveling of a kingdom through one man's life. His name was Yak's Passage Chan Yo, the final king of Crowned, in the year 763. By the time he took the throne, the city had already passed its peak. The great monuments of his forebears stood tall and silent, stone figures locked in eternal poses, their faces worn smooth by rain and time. Yak's Passage was not of pure royal blood. His claim to kingship came through his mother, a noblewoman, not through direct paternal succession. And so from the beginning, his rule was delicate. He had to prove himself constantly, not just to his people, but to the memory of the kings before him. He commissioned grand temples, rebuilt sacred spaces, and restored damaged monuments. His reign was long, over 60 years perhaps, but it was not easy. The Copán Valley, once fertile, was beginning to fail. Centuries of intensive farming, of terracing hillsides and planting maize again and again had slowly drained the soil. The yields shrank. The people hungered. Droughts came, not sudden, but creeping. The rivers thinned. The rains grew erratic. The great plazas grew quiet. And through it all, Yak's Passage kept building. He ordered the construction of Temple 11, a final act of architectural ambition. This temple was unique, not grand in size, but symbolically rich. It connected the royal court to the sacred underworld of Maya cosmology, a kind of spiritual bridge. meant perhaps to reinforce his right to rule at a time when that right was fraying. But behind the stone and ceremony, unrest. The outer regions of S Kingdom, the satellite villages and farmlands began to resist. Tribute dried up, lesser lords grew bold. It is likely that rebellion stirred among the people, as hunger mixed with disillusion. The elite clung to tradition, performing rituals, sacrificing animals, consulting priests, but the gods grew silent, or perhaps the people simply stopped listening. In the end, Yak's passage vanished from the record. His name stops appearing in inscriptions. No tomb has ever been found for him. No monuments mark his death. Perhaps he died quietly in his court. Perhaps he was deposed and fled. Perhaps the city simply gave up remembering. The temples, once freshly painted in red and ochre, began to fade. The ball courts, once alive with ceremony and competition, fell still, and the sacred altars cracked, their glyphs softened by vines and rain. The people of did not vanish overnight. They lingered, they adapted, they moved. Some migrated into the highlands, others joined neighboring settlements. But the heart of the city, the palaces and courts, became empty. Yak's passage was not a tyrant or a hero. He was, perhaps, simply the last man trying to hold back the tide. And when we walk through the ruins of today, when we see the stones steely carved with calm, staring faces, we are seeing his legacy not as a warning or a tragedy, but as a quiet closing chapter, a final breath in the long story of a city once rich with music and incense. The fall was not dramatic. It was slow, a withering, a dimming, like the jungle slowly pulling its green blanket over stone and tucking the past to sleep. So ends our tale of the last king who walked among the ruins of his ancestors. Yet even as we close this chapter of the Maya, we must remember that their story did not end here. Their descendants live on, speaking Maya languages, honoring ancient traditions and carrying the wisdom of their ancestors deep within them. And thank you for joining us on this journey through time. If you've enjoyed our exploration of the Maya, then we invite you to continue exploring with us. We have more videos about ancient cultures and archaeological discoveries waiting to be explored. So click around, find something that sparks your curiosity, and dive deeper into the world of history and archaeology. You can also connect with us on social media to join a community of history enthusiasts. Together we can discuss our latest finds, share fascinating stories, and learn from each other. Your engagement inspires us to keep seeking out the most captivating tales from the distant past. So don't hesitate to reach out, share your thoughts, ask questions, and let's journey through time together. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. By subscribing, you'll ensure that you never miss any of our thrilling discoveries and captivating stories. We've got so many more adventures waiting for us, and we'd love for you to be part of it all. So click the subscribe button. Stay tuned and get ready to embark on unforgettable journeys through time. Until next time, keep exploring the world around you and keep asking questions. You might just uncover the next great discovery. In the hushed halls of the Maya, where time echoed through ages, lived men who bridged the earthly and celestial. They were the astronomer-priests, the silent seers who read the cosmos and wove its patterns into the fabric of Maya life. Today, let's journey back to uncover their stories. Let us weave our way into the world of these celestial storytellers. Our tale begins in the heart of the Maya world, where towering temples pierced the sky and the pulse of the cosmos resonated with the rhythm of life. At the zenith of the Maya social structure, close on the heels of the esteemed nobility, lived the astronomer-priests, a class apart. They dwelt in grand chambers near the sanctuaries, their surroundings echoing with the wisdom of ages past. Their days were spent not in the labor of manual tasks, but in the pursuit of knowledge. They were the chroniclers of time, the interpreters of omens. So step into their world and experience their everyday. Wake with the first blush of dawn. As the eastern sky awakens, you rise. The astronomer-priest's abode, perched atop a pyramid's crown, overlooks a landscape adorned by the fingers of the rising sun. Unlike the bustling city below, your sanctuary is hushed. Only the rustle of ancient leaves and the distant murmurs of the waking city disturb the peace. You don your finest garment, perhaps a pristine white tunic signifying your role as a conduit of celestial purity. Atop your head, a headband might rest, holding a simple veil in place. Around your waist, a woven belt cinched your attire, a symbol of duty as steadfast as the celestial bodies you observe. Jade, the embodiment of earthly luxury, adorns your wrists and throat, a testament to the value placed upon your role. Your first task, a ritual wash, not mere water cleanses your body, but a sacred water, perhaps infused with herbs or flowers. each drop carrying prayers and blessings for clarity of mind and purity of purpose. You wash not only to purify yourself, but to honor the heavens you are about to commune with. Now comes the core of your day, the ascent. The temple awaits, its lofty peak beckoning like an arm pointing towards the heavens. As you ascend step by step, the city unfolds beneath you. Jagged mountains frame the horizon to the east, while the boundless canopy of the jungle stretches endlessly to the west. With each step, you leave behind the earthly concerns of the city, ascending into a realm of contemplation and communion. Upon reaching the summit, your breath before you, the entire panorama of the heavens unfolds, a canvas of infinite wonder. In your hands, a simple yet profound instrument, a sighting tool crafted not of glass or lenses, but of wood, perhaps a sturdy Y-shaped stick. Its design seemingly basic, yet in your hands becomes an instrument of precision, aligning the celestial tapestry with the temple's architectural markers. Every doorway, every corner, every shadow line becomes pointed towards the heavens. The temple itself transforms into an instrument designed to resonate with the celestial movements. As the sun ascends or descends, you scrutinize the alignment, noting every nuance, every deviation. If the celestial bodies do not align perfectly with the temple's markers, you note it. These observations are not casual. They form the very essence of your existence, shaping your understanding of the cosmos and your role within it. And as you observe, you record, not with the numerical symbols of the modern age, but with a system as old as the Maya civilization, dots and bars. This vigesimal system based on the number 20 allows for the tracking of vast stretches of time from the sun's daily dance across the sky to the slow turning of the long calendar, a cycle that resonates across millennia. Each dot, each bar becomes a thread weaving together the celestial narrative. With time, you become a weaver of destinies, your readings shaping the very course of events in the Maya world. The king, the embodiment of earthly authority, eagerly awaits your pronouncements. His decisions, the heartbeat of the kingdom, are guided by your interpretations of the heavens. From the timing of planting to the decision for war, everything hinges on your readings. In times of uncertainty, your voice is a beacon, your calculations determining the best path forward. And yet, despite your immense influence, you remain in the background, your power lying in the quiet precision of your craft. But your role is not confined to the daylight hours. When the city sleeps, you remain vigilant. Under the cloak of night, you turn your gaze back to the sky, now adorned with a different tapestry of stars. The Milky Way, a river of stars stretching across the heavens, guides your eyes to the rising of Venus. You mark its position on a bark paper chart, comparing its appearance to past sightings. The meticulous record-keeping is not just about documenting, it's about understanding, anticipating, interpreting. You're not just an observer, you're a storyteller, narrating the celestial drama in ways that shape the Maya world. A common sight in Maya art, the astronomer-priest is depicted in his finest garments, reflecting his high status. He stands tall, often with a staff or baton in hand, symbolizing his authority and connection to the heavens. Some portraits show him with the markings of Venus, emphasizing his role in tracking the planet's cycles. The responsibilities of an astronomer-priest were numerous and demanding. They needed to track the movements of celestial bodies, accurately predict eclipses and other astronomical phenomena. Keeping meticulous records of their observations was crucial for their religious and agricultural practices. Understanding the Maya calendar system and its alignment with astronomical cycles was essential. They had to communicate their findings to the ruling elite and the general public, often in both spoken and written form. Moreover, they had to maintain the sacred sites and instruments used for astronomical observations, ensuring their continued accuracy and functionality. Finally, they held a significant position in religious ceremonies and rituals, making offerings and performing rites to honor the gods of the Maya pantheon. Life as an astronomer-priest was a calling, a dedication to unraveling the secrets of the cosmos. It was a path marked by discipline, deep knowledge, and unwavering commitment. The astronomer-priests were the storytellers of the skies, and their stories echo through time, reminding us of the enduring human quest to understand our place in the grand tapestry of the universe. Their legacy, a testament to the power of observation, the allure of the unknown, and the eternal fascination with the stars above. And with that, our exploration of the Maya astronomer-priests comes to a close. If you found this journey through time enlightening, I invite you to delve deeper into the world of ancient civilizations. Don't forget to like, comment, and share your thoughts. Until next time, keep looking up. Who knows, You might just find the echoes of these celestial storytellers in the patterns of the night sky. Now, dear viewers, it's your turn to explore more. Click on the cards to embark on new adventures through history and let the stories of our past illuminate the wonders of our world. There were no telescopes in the Maya world, just men in masks watching the sky. This is my story. The year's 961 AD approximately. You would have found me in the heart of the Maya kingdom, maybe walking through markets where merchants sold jade necklaces and deer pelts, sitting in the king's court as he dispensed justice, or standing beside him as he led his army to battle. If you had visited often enough, you might have heard my name whispered. Not only was I the king's son, but a member of the ruling dynasty, destined to take my place among the gods when I died. My time, however, was far from done. I would rule the kingdom of Tikal for decades, expanding its borders and amassing great wealth. The Maya lords, we tell ourselves, are immortal. But empires don't last forever, and neither do the lives of kings. My father, King Sioj Cake, ruled our city for 67 years, longer than any other king before him. He was old when I was born, and even older when I took the throne. It's a good thing I had so much experience by then. I had been learning since I was a boy. The first thing I remember are the priests of the sacred caves coming for me, taking me down tunnels that smelled like lime and water, showing me altars where my ancestors bled themselves to renew the world, and explaining how I was descended from those ancient rulers. When I was a little older, my father sent me to learn about the cosmos from the astronomer. He wanted me to know the will of the gods. The first thing I learned is that the Maya world is full of cycles. Day and night, waxing and waning, birth and death, drought and flood, war and peace. The universe turns sinlessly, moving through ages as the planets move across the sky. Time is a wheel, and everything that happens fits somewhere on it. The first cycle is 260 days, the sacred round. Every day has a name, a number, and an aspect, and every day is different, sacred, and unpredictable. The second cycle is 365 days, the solar round. Every day is named after one of 18 months, and every month has its own feel. Life follows the sun, and every year brings changes, some good, some bad. Together, the sacred and solar rounds overlap and intertwine, creating a constantly shifting calendar, one date that stays the same. To understand time is to understand the world. Everything that happens, everything you do, your life itself, can be mapped onto the cycles of heaven. And so the astronomers taught me how to read the heavens, how to watch for the smoke from distant fires, how to track the paths of the planets, how to measure the shadow of the sun at noon. We measured time by noting how the shadow shifted across 3 stones set up in the center of the North Plaza, called the triad of the initial series. As I grew older, I learned more. I consulted with priests. I studied the signs in the sky and the messages they held. The priests taught me which deities were active when Venus shone brightly, when Mercury appeared thin like a warrior, or when the moon went. From them, I also learned which days brought good fortune, which days should be avoided, which days were best for planting or hunting or making a long journey. Most important of all, though, was the long count calendar, a way to count the days since a mythical creation on August 11, 3114 BC. The long count calendar told the Maya who they were, why they were here, and how their days were numbered. As far as I knew, nothing else in the world worked like this. How could the Maya have known, I wondered, that their world was just a speck of dust drifting in the black abyss? By the time I inherited the throne, I understood our connection to the rhythms of the universe, but no amount of knowledge could have prepared me for what came next. My reign lasted 42 years. Within a few decades, I'd lead my people into new victories and turn the capital into a monument to the divine order. I'd marry a princess from a rival city, pacify rebellious neighbors, and capture enemy lords. My rule was marked by achievement, ambition, and war. The Maya kingship was both a privilege and a burden. Like my father before me, I needed many eyes around me to warn me of approaching danger, but no one warned me of the droughts. Those summers, the rains failed, the crops withered, and the nobles schemed for power, or of the earthquake that struck the city in the middle of the night, throwing me from my bed, shaking the foundations of the pyramids, and turning palaces into tombs. No one could foresee my brother's sudden illness, which killed him within weeks, or the mysterious death of my heir. My oldest son, whom I had raised to be a warrior, drowned while crossing a river on a hot afternoon. Suddenly, I was old. The years were passing faster than ever, and my enemies waited for me to stumble. So I did something no Maya king had done before. I turned to the priests for guidance. Was my time really running out? Were my sons lost to me forever? or would they return? Could the drought end without destroying my kingdom? I asked them everything. What if the Maya world was ending? What if the prophecies were true? Astronomers lived lives of study and seclusion, and they hadn't seen a reason to fear until now. After all, their job was to watch the heavens and report on them, not to worry about them. But if their king demanded their help, they wouldn't refuse. And so they gathered. At my summons, they came to my court from all over the Maya realm. Some walked for weeks, carrying bundles on their backs and coca leaves tucked into their belts. Others paddled across lakes and rivers in canoes, bringing with them a tangle of vines and seashells. All of them wore simple garments, and all of them were scholars. When they stood before me, I demanded answers. Why had my sons died? When would it rain again? Was my world ending? One by one, they told me what they saw in the skies. They spoke of Venus and Mercury, of eclipses and lunar cycles. They described constellations, revealing secrets hidden in plain sight. And finally, they told me what they had learned by recording the stars, counting time, measuring shadows, and interpreting omens. They told me how the droughts would end and the rains return. They told me which disasters would befall my enemies and how my bloodline would endure. As the priests spoke, I realized that I didn't understand their language. How could this be? We were Maya, speaking the same tongue. And yet what they said sounded strange, like a foreign tongue. But then one of them took off his mask, and I heard a familiar voice. It was my teacher, the man who first showed me the wonders of the sky. He had come to warn me, to guide me, and as he spoke he explained how the priests had kept records, carefully copying down glyphs, numbers and pictures on bark paper, wood and stone. He said that I could read those records, that they were written in my own tongue, Maya, and that they were meant for me. It turned out that the priests had been watching my life as well, seeing its rise and fall, its joys and sorrows, its successes and failures, and they had recorded it all. That day, Itzim gave me a small book made of bark paper, the very thing he used to make his records. Inside he had drawn a calendar, a history of my life, my deeds, and my lineage. The pages were filled with pictures, numbers, and glyphs, a secret code that only I could read. I began reading and I understood. I wasn't doomed, nor was my kingdom. The drought would end soon. My sons had died because it was their time, but a new son was on the way. I would have many more years on the throne. After the priests left, I looked up at the sky. It was empty, clear, and cold. There were no answers in the void, only endless cycles. But down here, there were the records of my people, the careful work of generations of priests, and their predictions had been true. I felt grateful, but I knew that the priests would want more, so I summoned them back to the capital and honored them like never before. Then I turned to the books. I pored over their pages, marveling at the wisdom inside. Before, I had seen them as mystics, a bit mad, perhaps, but harmless. Now I saw them as historians, accountants, counselors, friends. They were all of these, and more. And from them, I learned what it truly meant to be Maya. I will tell you a secret, but do not speak of it until we meet again. Are you listening? Then listen closely. And now, as we step gently away from the Maya world, we return to stillness. The jungle quiets behind us. The stone temples softened by moonlight and moss. The glyphs fade back into silence. The codex closes. The stars continue their slow journey overhead, just as they always have. In the vibrant textiles, we see their artistry, the intricate patterns, the bold colors, the timeless designs. In the rhythmic chants, we hear their music, the haunting melodies, the percussive beats, the lyrical vocals. The Maya are alive in the laughter of children, the wisdom of elders, the strength of the community. They live in the harmony between humanity and nature, the respect for the earth, the reverence for all living things. The Maya are not bound by time or place. They are eternal. They are the heartbeat of the jungle, the rhythm of the rain, the pulse of the earth. They are the spirit of this land. You have walked among stone haulers at dawn, their backs bent under the weight of limestone and duty, inviting us to dance to the rhythm of the cosmos, to honor the earth, to celebrate life, to embrace the mysteries of the universe. They call to us across the ages, inviting us to join their eternal dance. Will you answer their call? You've stood beside a weary king, watching his city quietly slip into history. You've traced ancient calculations through the pages of a forgotten book, and you've watched the sky with the calm eyes of a priest, listening for meaning in its endless rhythm. And now, you are here, in the softness of your bed, in the stillness of the present, far from the hunger, the heat, the uncertainty of that distant world. Yet in some ways, not so far. Because the Maya lived with care, with patterns, with observation. Their world was woven tightly. Days to stars, rituals to rain, silence to meaning. And perhaps, in this quiet moment, that rhythm touches you too. So let the past settle gently behind your eyes. Let your thoughts drift, as if through jungle mists and candlelit halls. There is nothing more to carry. No stone, no calendar, no burden. Only breath, only rest. The stars above you tonight are the same ones they watched long ago. And like them, you are part of something vast, ancient, and still turning. Sleep well. The earth beneath our feet remembers the steps of many generations. It remembers the Maya who walked these paths before us, carrying stones and seeds and stories. It remembers the weight of their footsteps, the rhythm of their lives, the pulse of their dreams. They are gone, yet here they are, all around us. The ancient Maya are stirring. They rise like mist from the earth, their voices echoing in the wind. They dance in the sunlight filtering through the leaves. They whisper in the rustling grasses, the sighing trees. They are in the very air we breathe, the water we drink, the fire that warms us. Their spirit lingers in the shadows of the great pyramids, in the silent chambers of the palaces. They walk beside us on the winding roads, their footsteps light and swift. They are everywhere, yet nowhere to be seen. In the bustling markets, we see their descendants, their eyes bright with life, their hands skilled and sure. The ancient Maya are gone, yet here they are, whispering tales of a bygone era.